The Spurs may have already found Keldon Johnson's replacement, but the strange part is that Keldon has never been more decorated. He just won Sixth Man of the Year, played all 82 games, and helped San Antonio reach the NBA Finals. Yet 3 developments now threaten his future. He is entering the final year of his contract without an extension. Tobias Harris is positioned to take away many of the power forward minutes that kept Keldon's role flexible, and Carter Bryant began looking like the cheaper 3-and-D wing this roster will eventually need. The question is not whether Bryant is better today. He is not. The question is whether the Spurs are quietly reaching a point where Bryant's age, defense, and contract matter more than everything Keldon already means to this team. By the end of this video, we will determine whether next season is setting up as Keldon Johnson's farewell or his final chance to prove that replacing him would be a mistake. First, the financial situation needs context. San Antonio is not already trapped above the second apron. Current payroll projections place the Spurs around the $200.4 million luxury tax line, while the second apron is roughly $221.7 million. That is a difference of more than $20 million. So the league's most restrictive threshold does not force San Antonio to remove Keldon today. The problem is what happens next. His approximately $17.5 million contract expires just as Wembanyama's salary jumps from his rookie deal to $43.5 million in 2027-28. Re-signing Keldon would mean adding a new multi-year commitment precisely when the Spurs need to prepare for future raises involving Stephon Castle and Harper. That makes this a question of opportunity cost, not whether Keldon deserves another contract. He absolutely does. Last season, Johnson averaged 13.2 points and 5.3 rebounds in only 23.3 minutes. He shot a career-best 51.9% from the field, made 36.3% of his threes, and scored a franchise record 1,081 points off the bench. He was the only NBA player to appear in every game without making a start. More importantly, he accepted a smaller role after spending years as one of San Antonio's leading scorers. The Spurs do not reach 62 wins or survive the non-Wembanyama minutes without that sacrifice. Like the video, subscribe, and tell me, should the Spurs keep Keldon or give those minutes to Bryant? But the playoffs changed the argument. Johnson fell from 13.2 points in the regular season to 7.7 in the postseason. His field goal percentage dropped to 40.7. His minutes fell below 18 per game, and the finals were even more damaging. Against New York, he averaged only 4.4 points in 15 minutes, while shooting 34.8% from the field. There were important exceptions, including 21 points against Minnesota and a crucial fourth-quarter burst in Game 7 at Oklahoma City. But the overall pattern was difficult to ignore. When San Antonio shortened its rotation and every possession demanded a specific playoff skill, the league's Sixth Man of the Year became easier to remove from the floor. That does not mean Carter Bryant took his job. Bryant averaged only 4.2 points and played 11.5 minutes during the regular season. He was not creating offense, leading bench units, or replacing Keldon's physical drives. He was trying to survive as a 20-year-old rookie on a finals team. But the direction of his season matters more than the final average. During his first 37 appearances, Bryant played only 8.1 minutes per game, scored 2.5 points, and made 26.4% of his threes. After February 1, he appeared in 34 games, averaged 15.3 minutes and 6.1 points, and raised his three-point accuracy to 37.3%. One statistical detail needs to be separated clearly. Bryant's verified full-season three-point percentage was 33.5, not 35.1 after the All-Star break. The more meaningful late-season split was 37.3% from three over those final 34 games. He then shot 41.4% in the playoffs, but that came on only 29 attempts. Those numbers are encouraging, not conclusive. San Antonio cannot decide a veteran's future because a rookie made 12 postseason threes. What matters is that Bryant's mechanics, confidence, and decision-making improved as the competition became more serious. The turning point arrived after one game with the Austin Spurs in January. Bryant produced 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks, then returned to the NBA rotation, looking more decisive. He stopped forcing difficult offense, used his athleticism to cut behind defenders, and began trusting the open three. His minutes nearly doubled during the second half of the season. The Spurs were not asking him to become another scorer. They were teaching him how to affect possessions without needing the ball. That is why calling Bryant a direct Keldon replacement can be misleading. They do not solve the same problems. Keldon creates energy by attacking downhill, absorbing contact, running in transition, and overpowering smaller defenders. He can rescue a stagnant bench unit by manufacturing points near the rim. Bryant projects as a lower usage wing who spaces the floor, defends difficult matchups, cuts when Wembanyama attracts help, and attacks an occasional closeout. Keldon's value comes from creating force. Bryant's future value may come from fitting around the force created by everybody else. And San Antonio's roster now needs the second profile more than it did 2 years ago. Wembanyama is the offensive foundation. Fox can organize possessions and reach the paint. Castle and Harper both need creation reps. Vassell provides movement shooting and secondary scoring. The Spurs already possess several players who are most dangerous with the ball. What becomes harder to find is a strong wing who can defend a top scorer, hit an open three, and remain useful without receiving a play call. If Bryant becomes that player, his role may be more compatible with the expensive version of this roster than Keldon's, even if Keldon remains the better individual scorer. The defense could decide the competition. Bryant has the strength, motor, and athleticism to challenge bigger wings, recover after being screened, and survive switches that place a smaller player in danger. His best possessions already look like something San Antonio desperately needs beside Castle and Wembanyama. Put those three on the floor together, and the Spurs can pressure the ball, switch more actions, and still protect the rim. That is the outline of a championship defense. But Bryant is not a finished defender. His aggression pulled him out of position during his rookie season. He committed unnecessary fouls, occasionally lost assignments away from the ball, and was attacked by experienced scorers such as Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson. Calling him an above-average defender based only on flashes would skip the difficult part of development. The tools are already valuable. The discipline is not yet consistent. If opponents can ignore him offensively or manipulate his eagerness defensively, Mitch Johnson will not trust him for 25 playoff minutes, simply because he is younger and cheaper. Keldon, therefore, has a real path to keeping his place. His regular season shooting improvement was not imaginary. Defenses had to respect him at 36.3% from three, and that opened the lane for the physical drives that define his game. He remains a powerful rebounder for his size, an emotional leader, and one of the few Spurs capable of changing the energy of a game immediately. Bryant cannot replace 7 years of trust, locker room credibility, and offensive production merely by fitting a desirable archetype. The challenge is proving that those strengths survive playoff basketball. Keldon does not need to average 18 points again. He needs to become dependable in the possessions that determine whether a rotation player stays on the floor. Can he punish a defender who leaves him to help on Wembanyama? Can he finish through length without forcing a low percentage drive? Can he defend a playoff wing without requiring Victor to erase the mistake? And can he remain effective when Harper becomes the primary bench creator? If the answers improve, San Antonio may discover that keeping both forwards is more valuable than choosing between them. The addition of Tobias Harris makes those answers harder to produce. Keldon spent more than 300 minutes at power forward last season, but Harris was signed to occupy that larger forward role beside Wembanyama. Julian Champagnie also received a 3-year, $45 million commitment, and Harrison Barnes returned on a 1-year deal. That leaves Keldon competing more often at small forward, where Vassell, Bryant, and Champagnie can all absorb minutes. The Spurs have not announced that his role will shrink. They have simply built a rotation in which it can shrink without leaving an obvious hole. This may be the clearest message in the entire situation. San Antonio did not extend Keldon, but it did commit long-term money to Champagnie, short-term money to Harris, and continued developmental resources to Bryant. Each decision can be defended separately. Together, they create a picture of a front office preparing several alternatives before Keldon reaches unrestricted free agency. That is responsible roster building, not a declaration that he is already gone. There are 3 realistic outcomes. The first is that Keldon has a strong contract season, restores his playoff value, and accepts a team-friendly deal to remain in San Antonio. The Spurs have his bird rights and can technically pay him, so affordability is ultimately a question of priorities. The second is that he plays well enough to earn a larger offer elsewhere, and San Antonio allows Bryant to inherit more minutes rather than matching that price. The third is that Bryant does not progress quickly enough, forcing the Spurs to reconsider how confidently they can replace Keldon's production. A mid-season trade is also possible, but it should not be the default. The Spurs are trying to win a championship, and removing the reigning sixth man of the year for financial relief would make little sense, unless the return improves the playoff rotation. An expiring contract can help match salary in a larger move, but San Antonio should not weaken the team simply to create a runway for Bryant. A young player should take a veteran's minutes by becoming more useful, not because the front office manufactured an empty position for him.
That gives next season two separate evaluations. Keldon will be judged by whether his game translates when the postseason slows down. Bryant will be judged by whether his flashes become reliable NBA skills. The scoring averages may not determine either answer. Keldon could remain around 13 points and earn another contract by defending and finishing efficiently in the playoffs. Bryant could average only 7 or 8 points and still win the long-term role if he becomes the wing San Antonio trusts against elite scorers.
So, have the Spurs already found Keldon Johnson's replacement? They may have found the player who can eventually absorb his position, minutes, and financial slot. They have not yet proven that Bryant can replace his production, durability, or leadership. The fairest verdict is that next season should be a competition, not a farewell ceremony. Keldon deserves the opportunity to redeem his playoff run, and Bryant deserves a larger role after the growth he showed as a rookie.
If Bryant shoots consistently, defends without fouling, and earns a place in San Antonio's closing lineups, the transition may become unavoidable. A 21-year-old 3-and-D wing on a rookie contract would fit perfectly around Wembanyama, Castle, and Harper. But if Keldon carries his regular season impact into May and June, the Spurs should not let a valuable player walk merely because the younger alternative is cheaper. The second apron rewards discipline. It does not require a contender to discard proven talent before the replacement is ready. Keldon Johnson may be entering his final season in San Antonio, but Carter Bryant has not ended Keldon's Spurs career yet. The decision will be made in the possessions that matter most: open threes, defensive switches, closeouts, and playoff minutes. And to understand why the same financial pressure could eventually create an even larger decision, watch our breakdown of whether Devin Vassell could become San Antonio's version of Lou Dort.